welcome to News Across Nigeria. I'm Imana Amawe. Coming up on the program, Federal High Court adjourns trial of former National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Elisa Metoo, till early December. Commissioner of Police meets political parties ahead of the Anambra governorship elections. Nasarawa state government calls for calm as Fulani headsmen migrate towards communities bordering Benue state. Welcome to the program that brings you news from the length and breadth of Nigeria. We begin with the trial of former National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Elisa Metoo. In his testimony at the Federal High Court in Abuja, the former NSA, Colonel Sambo Dasuki, said the 400 million naira paid to Mr. Metoo's company from his office followed due process. Defending his action, he told Justice Okonabang that the transaction between his office and the National Security Advisor and Destra Investments Limited is not an unlawful one. Colonel Dasuki, who was speaking under cross-examination, however, informed the court that he could not recall the exact reason for the payment unless the Department of State Service allows him to go home and consult his records. Both counsels were satisfied with the testimony. Further trial has been fixed for December the 4th, 5th, and 6th.
The first defendant asking for an adjournment to enable Colonel Dasuki testify at a later date. The court delivered its judgment and dismissed that application. Following that, the witness stepped into the witness box, concluded his evidence, and we cross-examined him accordingly, and he has been discharged. So we expect them to bring in their next witness, the next sitting. The previous report by the bailiff was that they were unable to effect personal service of the subpoena on the former president. And it is expected that the defense lawyers should take appropriate steps to make sure that the witness is brought to court by the next adjourned date.
Sambo Dasuki came, and from his testimony, all necessary approvals were given for the transaction over which we are being charged. And he testified in line with the document tendered by the EFCC that there was maximum compliance with due process with respect to the transaction which gave rise to these suits. We called him to say exactly that. We had no interaction whatsoever with him, and he gave his evidence freely. We are satisfied with it. It now depends on what the learned trial judge makes out of it.
In another criminal case, this time in Lagos, suspected kidnap kingpin Chukwudumeme Onwamadike has filed an application seeking to be released on bail and for his case to be given an accelerated hearing. Evans filed the application at the resumed hearing of trial on conspiracy and kidnapping at the Lagos State High Court sitting in Ikeja. But the Lagos State Director of Public Prosecutions, Ms. Titilayo Shitabe, describes the bail application seeking accelerated hearing filed alongside an application seeking to quash the charges as conflicting, confusing, and an abuse of court processes. At the last sitting, Evans had made a U-turn as he entered a plea of not guilty when he was rearranged on a 2-count amended charge of conspiracy and kidnapping. Let's move to Enugu State now, southeast Nigeria, where the issues of agitation for a Biafran Republic and Nigeria's unity is once more up for discussion, but this time around by the delegates from the United Nations led by a special representative of the Secretary General of the UN, Ambassador Mohammed Ibn Chambers. The delegates met behind closed doors with the leadership of the Apex Igbo organization, Ohaneze Ndigbo, led by its President General Chief John Wodo in Enugu State. After the meeting, Chief Wodo reveals that the United Nations has promised to prevent conflict, improve the quality of life and protect human rights in the region.
We indeed came to commend them on the leadership that they have demonstrated. A few months ago, we were all getting a bit worried about events and developments in southeast of Nigeria, but thanks to their leadership and their initiatives, they were able to bring together the chiefs, the political leaders, the governors, respected persons of Southeast. Through this intervention, we now see that calm is restored and that all are working to advance the One Nigeria agenda.
He has assured us that the United Nations represents prevention of conflicts, represents promotion of development in a manner that improves the quality of life and prevents resort to conflicts and protection of human rights, and that the United Nations will be alive to the responsibilities of that organization as it pertains to our country and to Ndibo.
From the southeast to the north central, in Nasarawa state, the state government has called for calm and promised to protect lives and property. This comment is coming 3 days after the Benue state government started the implementation and enforcement of the ban on open grazing in the state. Governor Tanko Al-Makura and the State Commissioner of Police explained that the migration of Fulani headsmen within the Nasarawa-Benue state border will not cause any conflict between the two parties.
And typical of sudden migrations such as this, the repercussions are quite many, because there will be going into areas that otherwise were not meant for people to go, and a certain rapport or relationship with the migrants might also be a challenge. That is why I decided to call for this meeting, so that we can isolate areas where such migrations and problems are more profound, and also to find ways and means of containing this.
The proactive steps on the likely effect of the Benue State anti-grazing law and sensitize the holders to maintain law and order. All tribal associations, the TIPS, the Metoo Allah, the Alago, the religious leaders as well, were urged to put head together with the security agencies with a view to see that there is no any breakage.
And here in the southwest, members of the informal business sector in Lagos will get more opportunities to serve in the civil service as well as handle key projects in the state. This is according to the Lagos State Governor, Mr. Akinwumi Ambode, who is excited about the quality of tradesmen and artisans produced from the state's capacity building and empowerment program. Governor Ambode made a commitment at the graduation ceremony of 1,000 artisans and traders who were retrained on modular employability program to enhance their productivity.
Our state is one of the fastest growing economies in the world, and it presents great opportunities that are waiting to be tapped and challenges which you are the solution providers. Your training has been designed to address this skills mismatch and provide the right mix of skills needed to service the industrial needs of this state. Now we are very excited. Our Tailors Association are the ones that produce these academic gowns. So we should not limit it to tailors alone. So moving forward, all the trades and all the kind of jobs that we can use to improve the economy of our tradesmen, we will now start to engage them officially. So as we start, we will instruct the ministry to see the capabilities and the opportunities that we can spread out from the state jobs and contracts and give it to all of you. I'm very happy to note that yes, we have graduates amongst you and also graduates who are actually your own children. So we create an immediate opportunity through the association to be able to recruit into key areas in the state service where we can use the services of all of you.